much larger problem is the one that's untouchable. It's the one that's unspeakable. It's the one you will never hear about on network news or in corporate television. The real problem is our culture. We have a dysfunctional culture. A culture is a set of assumptions, a set of stories that we all collectively tell ourselves about who we are, where we came from, where we're going, what our relation to each other is, what our relation to the world is, what our relation to economies and politics and technology. All of those things, all of that stuff makes up our culture. And it finds expression in how we live, how we speak, how we conduct ourselves, how, everything that we do. And our culture says we must grow, right? That we must have an economics of growth. Our culture says that it's entirely appropriate for a corporation to have the rights of a human being. Our culture says that patriarchy and hierarchy are the natural ways of things, and in fact natural to humanity. Science, by the way, contradicts both of those things. Our culture says to internalize profits and externalize costs for a power plant not to have to or an oil company not to have to pay for the millions of cancers that they're creating every year and the damage that they're doing to the environment, but instead just walk away with the profits and leave the rest of us to pay for that's just fine. And so, at the very macro level, there are some very large cultural assumptions that we have failed at. One, that everything is sacred. We instead, as a culture, have been assuming that the sacred is found in a box that we go to on Sundays or Saturdays or Fridays. And the consequence of that is that because nothing is sacred, we feel perfectly willing to screw it up, right? Because it's not sacred, And if there is something that's sacred, that's something sacred, the famous James Watt saying from the Reagan administration when he was asked why he was willing to sell off Western lands at literally a penny an acre to big mining companies that were going to pull thousands of dollars an acre worth of materials out of them. Of course, his later consulting company did very well with it. And he said, oh, well, Jesus is coming back, he'll make all things new. I mean, these kinds of bizarre cultural assumptions, this is at the heart of the problem that we're facing. And nobody was confronting them. And so I wanted to write a book and say, the problem is it's our culture, stupid, kind of thing. This is the real problem. It's how we think. It's not what we're doing. What we're doing is obviously some terrible problems. We wouldn't be doing them if we weren't thinking about it.
Species disappearing, all the birds fly south. In a January heat wave in a pulsing crowd. It's an African militia, kids with submachines. It's a conflict diamond on your bride-to-be. It's the dispossessed lining up at every gate. It's the facts worth facing way too late. It's the mission of modernity, go get what's yours. So there's nothing left over to go get no more. And it's not what we're owed, but it's what we've earned. And it's closer than we realize, it's time now to burn.